I'm Baskin Tapkan. I'll talk a little bit about myself in a bit. But this talk is about Chrome extensions, page scraping analysis. So how many people have used or developed Chrome extensions? Web developers, most people? So yeah, there'll be some background here if you're going to do the Chrome extensions. I'm going to cover the basics of the Chrome extensions, how to create one, and page scraping techniques, what's out there for as far as what goes on page scraping, what kind of techniques that are out there. Then I'm also going to talk about node packages, which I found useful for scraping pages and analyzing data. How many people are familiar with Node.js? Quite a few. There is an Express backend to this project. There's also links. Let me just go back up here. If you want to follow the slide deck, it's on this link. And it should be live right now. So anybody can see that? Or okay. And the resource is also inside that slide deck. And that's the bonus link that I made up. Yeah, we're going to talk about, to make this pool more exciting, I throw in a MongoDB for a backend, which is going to use a Mongoose schema. Thank you. Oh, I got one. For scraping for scrape data, and also Firebase. How many people have used Firebase? Okay, MongoDB. Nice. Then I also have this application that I developed, which is a Chrome extension that does all this. So I'm going to walk through that details on the application, how that is come about to be, and what it can do, what it can change, things like that. I have a few things about testing, integration, and unit testing, and I'll probably have a summary into it. So that's what we have. So a bit about me. I'm a full stack software developer. So you got this right here, full stack developer. So yeah, full stack software developer. I've been working since last August. I joined ReachLocal as a front-end developer. Before that, I was a VP of a small startup software company. We were doing AutoCAD automation, writing intent services, automating intent services. So mostly, I worked on a big Angular application, which went through a couple of iterations through that. And last year, I also presented here too on the Lean Stack. That was my first time. That was fun. So some background in the front end, obviously, Angular, quite a bit. I see a lot of faces here because Lon and I'm kind of user group junkie. My last gig was at home, so going to user groups were nice to be able to get out of the house and break the remote working. So I'm trying to make these user groups quite a bit, and you can see me up there talking or just attending these user groups. GTC is another reason I'm here. So yeah, that's about me, and then this is our group of people that I work with. We have about 12 people, so a bit about ReachLocal. ReachLocal is a company based in Los Angeles, LA, California based. We have a small group of people here doing the developers, so most developers here, there's no sales group. What ReachLocal does is a digital advertising company. So we sell ads and campaigns to our customers, clients, and it's designed for small business customers, so SMBs. Also there's about 2,000 clients. Google is a competitor as well as a partner right now for us. But my role in coming into ReachLocal was there was a need for a software that checks for website compatibility. That if a website, that our customer's website is compatible with our current software. So that what we end up doing is we inject a third-party JavaScript and we run certain things on the website. Just looking at things that we can change the phone number or some string. So that need brought up this Chrome extension. So this talk is kind of spin off. I took this out and then made a little bit of changes in our code base, but you can see the patterns that I followed, and I didn't have it back. We can even have a backend where he's using a web API to get results and things like that. A couple of hobbies, I'm definitely in IoT. I'm also interested in IoT. If you haven't heard it before, we just done our second year of IoT Hack Day. I really encourage people to go and check it out. That's a one-day event in October, typically. And Justin Gramness, who's talking today as well, he runs the show for that event. It's a one-day event, so you got a bunch of people getting together. It's a team event, so you have a bunch of people in your team, projects. You can hack the one team together, just bring a laptop with a few of the tools that you have. We do it this year. We didn't get to win yet. Hopefully someday we'll win. But we actually worked on a project for detecting like information services, pretty much. We have our iOS app that will just show that data into one of these gadgets, gizmos that we have up there. But it's a fun event. The other thing I'm interested in, and I also have a couple IoT projects at home, like I have a couple of rain meters, weather stations, and things like that. I'm still working on those. That also makes me a wind junkie. So I play outside in the wind with a thing called kiteboarding, or snow kiting when you have the snow. I've been doing that in the last 6-7 years. I've mostly been surfer, but kind of a transition to this now. Being originally from Turkey, I was I sailed there back then, back in the 80s and 90s. Came up here, got picked up again. The place to go if you're into that kind of stuff is Oregon, Columbia River. That's when it's windiest and big river, so you get to play on the water. So I'll try to make that trip every year. So yeah, it's been fun. All right, so let's talk about Chrome extensions. So what are Chrome extensions? Chrome extensions are small programs that are running in the browser. You run it on the Chrome browser, obviously. It's not compatible with Firefox. You know, that's the first thing that I heard. Does it run on Firefox? It does not. It's a Chrome browser. But it works on everything on Macs, Windows, and Linux. So that's a nice thing. Anytime you have a Chrome browser, so you don't have to deal with the operating system. So it's a kind of a good way of, I think I'm hearing more people, more corporations and stuff, or small apps running on the browser. Easy to do. You can, a lot of plugin, a lot of accessibility around it, so you can do that. So you can use these applications. And you can publish your application to the web store, Chrome web store, and have it distributed in your system. It doesn't have to be public. If you think about it, you can actually carve out your own user group and just have them go out. It's very seamless as far as the patches and things going out. As soon as the user, it's really silently updates itself and all that good stuff. You come out from the Chrome web store. So how do you write one? You have a Chrome script. Unfortunately, we don't have a Chrome script yet. Maybe someday. But right now we're using JavaScript, HTML, and CSS. So how many people use JavaScript? That's everybody, right? And it's HTML and CSS, as we know, the web's made out of it. One thing that is not to be confused with the Chrome plugins. So Chrome plugins are the ones that, like Adobe Flash is an example of a Chrome plugin that just talks to the OS and more of the other devices and things like that. So it's a little different. So how you start one? So, we're not going to be doing this. If you search okay, so the starting point is Chrome extensions, right? So this is where you go in your browser, on your address bar. If you haven't done it yet, just go to Chrome. //extensions. That's going to get you to that nice web store page. You can see, you can install different Chrome extensions from the web store, or you can just browse around, and there's certain things you can look around. What they're useful for is like blocking ads. How many people have used ad blockers? Okay, that's not good for us right now. For each local, it is not. If you're using ad blockers, our software don't quite work well yet. We've got to work on that. But it's blocking ads, it's readability, you can have form fillers, there's customized searches, and DuckDuckGo is another one of those, it just pops on your address bar. There's a socializer plugin, some productivity, you can do different things on your browser, and security obviously. You can see what's going on in your browser, things that have been tracked, and turn things on and off. So for the extensions, you just go into, so the first thing you want to do for developing, you got to turn the developer mode on. That needs to be checked. Then you can do, once you create that extension, this is an example of this. You just go into load unpack extension link, and then source where your source file is, and load up the extension from that, load the file from there. It generates this 32-character unique key. So the idea is everybody gets a unique key when that go in the Chrome Web Store. They don't get jumbled. It's just unique to that, unique to you, unique to the store as well. There's a background page is used for debugging. Most of the time when you're writing, developing your extension. So the way it works is your extension and your background page is for your extension. to run in the background. It may be alive for the whole time the browser is running, and it's the place that, I'm going to talk more about that, it's the place that where you're going to go and look for things. The task manager is when you pull up the Chrome browser, it's on your right top corner, you just pull it down, there's more tools, task manager. You get to see this kind of like a task utility. And if your extension is running at that time, you can see the extension running, you can see the memory usage here, CPU, that kind of stuff. A good place to bug if you're hogging the memory, if something is amiss, you can shut it down that way. All right, so let's create one. How do we create a Chrome extension? So the place to start is the manifest.json file. This file is going to be in the root of our directory, and that's where we're going to load unpack the extension that I showed earlier. You just need to point to this directory where that manifest.json is, and it just pick it up and load up the file, the contents here. So obviously it's a name, description, version, browser extension. So there's two things with the Chrome extensions. There's two things you can do right now. There's a browser action and a page action. The browser action is the one that the extension is going to come plop in your address bar, toolbar on the right side, and then you just see that. And the page action is going to be on certain pages, and that's going to be within the omnibar, or this is called address bar, address entry. It's going to be plopped in at the end of it. I don't know if you, is that, yeah, I can show you a little bit of that if it doesn't work, but there are two things you can do. Obviously, you need some icons for your extension that is going to be distinguished from letters. The letters section is the background. So the background is a script that you want to run when the extension loads. The extension is going to be loaded at the browser started. It will be the persistent or not persistent. Persistent makes it like an event page, so which would be a lightweight edition of a browser Chrome extension, if you will. So I suggest using the persistent first, because then you don't hook up a lot of memory and your extension goes away when it's done. That's a nice way of doing that. You put your default icon. The permission is another setting that you can have which kind of things are you looking for. Are you going to be using tabs, active tabs, or storage, or cookies, or security, and whatnot. So you can have, those are listed in that directory. And then the second big piece, so the first one is background page. I guess the first one is manifest. The second one is our background page. And the third one, we've got content scripts. So these content scripts are the scripts that we can inject to the target page, or we can make another one, and we can inject these pages, and they run in the context of the isolated world. So they don't necessarily access access the DOM, they access the JavaScript that's running inside the page, but they typically access the DOM. I'll have a little more on that later. And the stuff that you can have different resources on this for your extension. You can use accessible resources. That's a good place to put HTML, CSS, the JavaScript that you may need. So any questions so far?
When it injects JavaScript into the page, does the browser just automatically take that into account for like a CORS request?
No, it won't be. It's just going to be in the page. Whatever you put on the page, on that script, it's going to run right away, obviously, right? So if you just do that. But it's not, they don't know each other. So you cannot, that's a great question actually, we're going to touch that in a bit. So you cannot share the same DOM, the same JavaScript. They run in the context of isolated worlds, according to the documentation. So all right, so background page. So what do you do with the background page? So you can do, you can kind of replace that, if you're like a regular application, or it's like the main for entry point to your application. You can set up various configurations. You can load up state. You can set up event listeners. You can access and use the Chrome SDK. So one thing that you will see is the Chrome API. I'm going to touch base in a minute. So that's where you can start hooking those up. You can create a new tab, initialize the state, and do send messages to other content scripts and extensions, event orchestration, storing state data. So a lot of things you can do, and that's the place to go for this. And we start with that. And we have the content scripts. So the content scripts are, you inject the scripts into the page. It's the interaction when the page is decided. So we're going to do certain things. When we do our page scraping, you'll see it in a minute, that we can manipulate the DOM and look for certain things and take the DOM and send another element to another place. So you can do all kind of different things with the content scripts. You can communicate with other extensions via messages. you'll see that the message passing between the extension and the background pages and content scripts. You'll see an example of that in a minute. We can do that kind of stuff. You can make a cross-site XML HTTP request, which I will do in a minute as well. We have the Chrome Star APIs. You can access those, most of them, except the ones that are listed here. And that's how we define one, for example. So matches this extension, this example is going to be only running at the google.com, or you can put all the URL, or HTTP or HTTPS. You can tell where it's going to be, the CSS that you're going to inject, and other files that you may be using in your JavaScript. So it's pretty easy. The format is pretty, I think, readable. It's a JSON format. Now let's talk about a little bit about Chrome APIs. So Chrome API is about 40, there's some 40 different types of head-level API entry points. It's not as intensive, but there's quite a few. What I recommend is these are, I think, the ones that I use so far and familiar with. The browser action is the one that you can act. There's a page action, I mentioned that earlier. Browser action is another one. That's the link that your extension is going to hook into. Cookies is another one. You can read, write cookies, modify cookies, and the target page. Extension is another place that you can talk to the extensions, pages, tabs, if you will. Page action, I mentioned that. Runtime for message passing between the extensions that have been done so far. Storage is a place that you can access your Chrome storage, local storage, or IndexedDB, I think it uses. I haven't done IndexedDB. How many people are familiar with your Chrome storage in the browser? So I'll do a demo of that. That's a really good point that you can get temporary data. Tabs is how you can talk to other tabs. You can organize tabs in your browser, get a count of them, you can close things up. So you can just do a lot of surprising things during the user to confuse them. So one thing that to watch out for is the thing is here is the async nature of the Chrome API. So that kind of gives off a lot of interesting things. It's not your typical programming level. You do one task and do the next task. It doesn't. Unfortunately, it doesn't work that way. It works differently. Asynchronous function is going to return right away. So what that tells us, lets us do is we can do an XML HTTP request to a backend and then wait for the result to come back and do other stuff on the page. And the reason this is also is, JavaScript is single-threaded. You want the browser to be running and reactive the whole time. And it's a big decision for Google and Chrome to do this, that it's always async and they return immediately. Does that make sense? And this link here is that there's about close to 100 samples for Chrome extensions. So I suggest if you want to look at it, get a project and just look at those samples. They're pretty good, kind of basic, but it gets you the idea, what you can do with the extension. Any questions?
Are things natively are promises natively supported in Chrome now, or are you pulling in a third-party thing like we would do in Node to promise
Right.
things?
It is natively supported, so that's a good thing. That's another thing. Since they're only going to be running the Chrome browser, that really made my life easier. I don't have to worry about IE this time. So that was a good side. That's a good call. Yeah, it's always promises are natively supported. Here in this case, you see that Chrome local storage, storage.local only is an async key. So what you do is you define this promise, and then we have a resolve and reject. So when your promise is resolved, you just say p.then, and then you just continue the header path. That is going to send a value of saved when it's resolved. And then you can use this promise at a later time. And you can catch an exception if something failed. So there will be an example. There's a couple examples in my sample project as well. See how that looks. Let's talk about some page scraping. Has anybody done page scraping? So it's just so we got multiple things that you can do. You can do curls, you can do text, regular expression matching, grabs on the page. HTTP programming, obviously you can parse a different node, think DOM traversing, you can have certain things in the DOM. There's specific page scraping software. So yeah, you can do a bunch of those. So I found out these two page scraping in the web store. If you Google that, this is kind of my first starting point, when I get on the project. So what's out there, what has been done, plus how I can do mine is different or do something a little slightly variation on that. So The first one I run into was a scraper. This is the scraper. It's a little bit out of date, but it still works today. You go on, I'll show you a little demo on that, but you go on, you right click on your page, and then you just select where you want to be, and it's just going to be a little selector tag. You can modify that. You can add more filters if you like, and you can put that data in the clipboard. When it scrapes it out, you put that and you can show it to Google Docs. So that seems to, yeah, that's kind of a little example here. I'm going to show them in a minute. That's kind of how it works here. These screens, and you can push that to the Google Docs, and it works. Copy the clipboard also works too. Okay, let's do a little demo on that. For all the demos, it's going to be run on the Hacker News today, the Hacker News Y Combinator. So I'm going to bring that one up. So, like I said, it will be, so let's just pick up, let's just refresh this quick. Let's make sure I don't know what yeah, good. So you got a new one. So you do on this scraper project, you just right click on the, do that. Okay, so let's just right click on that link. You see that at the end, scrape similar. So you choose your scraper, and it pops up as another window. Pops up on your browser. It's a smaller one actually from this, but you can see the path. So you can see it export to Google Docs. You can put more filters and things like that. So just extract that. So all that data is going to go to my Google Docs as long as you're connected in your Google browser. So it's very straightforward. It's just nothing to it as far as usage-wise. The source for this is available on GitHub. Again, the source code is a bit out of date, so if you want to use that, the 1.6 is on the GitHub, and it's a bit out of date, so you won't be able to load the extension directly unless you modify the code a little bit. But you can see the patterns here. So I'm not going to go over to the source code on this one as much, but it's available unless we have time left. So any questions on this scraper? Does anybody use this one? Something new? Then I'll come back to this. Okay, so now it's done. And the next one is Web Scraper 1, and this is a very nice website. Webscraper.io is a nice website. It is more enterprisey, and they're actually selling a service for this to do a lot of scraping and how you can do that data. It has better support. There's a video out there on YouTube. You can watch it how you can use this. The link version in the Chrome store is free. It starts with, it's a little different though. It works under the access to Chrome developer tools. It is more, obviously it has more bells and whistles to the regular ones, the one we saw earlier. Tutorial documentation, but that's how it works. You have the start URL, but you want a page to scrape at, you just do the URL, and you put the links, the site links, and the pagination links if you want to go paginate to different links on the same URL. There is another thing I noticed is I don't know if you use your Chrome browser, Chrome DevTools in a separate window like I do most of the time. None of his demos worked. I really scratched my head for a while, just what's going on. So keep your windows docked when you're using this extension. So, the other thing with the Chrome extensions, occasionally you end up breaking your browser. So keep an eye out on that. All the time things are interesting. Okay, so Web Scraper is, you see here, when you start under your page, you just create a new sitemap. In this case, I create a site Hacker News. And you just put the selector with ID and where you want to run it at, and just run it. That's pretty much it, pretty straightforward. It uses IndexedDB as its own storage, so when you close this page and come back, your storage, your preferences, your filters, and your scraping details are saved in that directory, so which is nice about this one. So yeah, if you just do that, then you're gonna pop up, it will just pop up this, the top level, nice little area that you can select what you're selecting. You can hit the select on selecting button. It uses Bootstrap, which is nice. But that's the one thing, the one catch is I make sure you're docked, otherwise people won't know you stuff out. Now, sending so you can take your JSON that you created that, it's also saving the JSON, so you can export that settings that you create, right? I just did that earlier, start URL selectors. So this whole data is in the index database, but which is nice that you can just move that to your location. So I suggest, if this is a good place to look at. It's definitely a much better mess that I've seen so far, and I'm not going to feel it, but this is good reviews on Google Chrome Web Store. So if you have a need for scraping really heavy duty, I think this is a great starting point. And you can push the CSV. Yeah, there's also the for the CouchDB as a backend as well for shoving scrape data back to it. Let's do a demo on this one. Same website. I need my dev tools in this one. What's the command? Command Shift I. Command Option I. There we go. So if I think I already have this set up. So I just wanted to do is maybe create a new. Actions on the layer to the left, to the right. If I just look over there you go. Okay, so you come to start. Should we edit something? Click on there you go. So you can edit this. You can say okay, edit and do another. Cancel this. There you go. And we select right at the bottom. You guys see this? And just give the name. Let's say test. And let's give the name, the text. It should pop up here somewhere, but you're not seeing the resolution. So there's a bit of learning, but that's kind of how it works. I don't get that pop-up coming up for some reason. So you get I think you get the gist of it, how this is going to work. With all these tools, it's very, they're all dependent on the web page, what you're going to scrape it at. So you just have some patience going at it, but I think this is a pretty good tool overall. Yeah, once you have the data, you can preview it. Yeah, bottom. It's designed mostly for good console bots. You can see what's going on. You can see. You can see the web page. And you can change all these URLs and things like that. And then the data can be pushed into a CouchDB. Or typically, I get it on the CSV format, and you can push it to save whatever you like. Any questions on this web scraper?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I've used this one before, and I highly recommend. There's a video on the guy's website. It's extremely helpful because, as you can see, the UI is not super intuitive.
Exactly.
And I've also found like you experience when you click on things, sometimes they don't pop up.
Yep.
But it's because you're in the wrong. It's a little. It's a good one, but yeah, definitely you need to kind of research it a little bit.
Absolutely, I agree. I can't agree more. I've been saying the same thing. I even thought about not bringing it up, but that's one of the best ones I've seen. And it's just, it has a nice UI. It has a nice website too. It's Scraper.io. He told us about it. And he has support on his site. Seems pretty good.
May I ask an opinion?
Yeah.
What about have you used Kimono at all?
No, I haven't.
Okay.
Is it a commercial product? Or is it a
You can use it as a commercial, but they just recently built a Chrome extension that is extremely easy to use.
Okay.
So I
Thank you.
yeah.
How do you spell it? K-O-M?
It is Kimono. And you don't even have to use their extension either. It's just nice to have one.
Cool. Definitely I'll add it to my notes. So this is good. Yeah. So you don't need to come to the front, I guess. Yeah. Cool. Thank you. Thanks for bringing it up.
Yeah.
Continue. My presentation.
Promise I had no idea that was the title.
That's good. Find my presentation. Presentation has been found. We'll continue. Thank you guys can stay here. Check out the Kimono. like, oh, you stumbled. Here you go. You just see this one? No, I have not. Thank you. So what I've done is node packages. So we got node packages for scraping. I found this. And does anybody use Egghead.io? Egghead.io is a good resource for. As a matter of fact, I found these from them, the Cheerio and X-Ray. So Cheerio is the first one, which is node backend for it's a jQuery actually for the server. So you can do the DOM, traverse to DOM, do a lot of selection and things like that. And X-Ray is another one that uses Cheerio, but it uses also pagination and delayed requests and streams to files and things like that. Obviously, if you're a node developer, check out the request. There's another one that you can HTTP polls, right? And we have Nightmare. It's a good high-level browser automation. I suggest this one because Nightmare could be interesting in cases that the site is dynamic, meaning that it uses some kind of Angular or Ember or some React or some kind of stuff. So you just wanted to render the site, and Nightmare can use that just to get that data right there from a different level of rendering. So I'm not going to talk about that, but I just let you know there's a place that you can use there's Nightmare is available if you go to the dynamic website that renders later when after the DOM is loaded. VO is another tool. You can control the flow of your library. And download is when you want to download some data and then scrape through this back and forth. So for Cheerio, so this is going to be my backend here. So I have in this project, I created two different models, one with the Cheerio, another with the X-Ray. This is kind of a, you can use Cheerio. Obviously, the first thing is npm install Cheerio. You save it to your package JSON, and then just npm install, right? And then you got all that Cheerio available to you. You want to do the request as well. Typically, like in this case, script is, all we're doing is, this is also another callback. So you see there's a promise here somewhere. Yeah, there's a promise. So yeah, we're just gonna go and use the request object. So we pass in the URL and then the JSON that we'll be getting. Actually, I don't need to put I'm not sure why I made to JSON. I have some options. So there's a JSON object here that we can also utilize, I guess. Pretty easy. You got the Cheerio object, the load HTML, the URL that we're sending. You got the parse results as an object. And these are your selectors. You can build them in your code. By the way, this is all backend, right? So everybody clear with that? So I'm going to send the URL to this, and this is going to be done in the backend. The same is going to be in the X-ray as well. So we have rank and title and link. That's what you're going to see Excuse me, I still have a little bit of cold from last week, so ignore that. The previous presenters talked about hugging Patrick's contest, but I don't think I'm going to go there. I'm still having cold. But yeah, please do thank them. This is a great event. So we have the results, and we push the data. The metadata is a JSON object. We push that in our parse results, and then we resolve the parse results to the colon. So that's how it's going to work. For X-ray, it's much easier. It just takes a few other things because X-ray has this thing built in already, so you can just say X-ray URL, your selector, then what you're parsing out of that. So it returns this X-ray object that has all these right title and link. Again, these are all designed for the Hacker News, so if you want to use that for different websites, you can just modify your needs. You can write this to a file, just pass the file object, or you can just say the stream object, you can turn it back. There are a couple other things that are interesting here. You can also paginate so you can go in the set. If you look at the Hacker News, there's only 30 links, and then you just paginate for different pages. So you can hit the paginate option for that selection. So you can do that. You can limit the number of pages that are returned to you. In this case, it's limit. So there's a few options with X-ray, which is I think very useful and friendly. It's pretty fast as well as Cheerio. So those are our node packages. So I'm going to talk about a little bit of backend. So quite a few people use Mongo, right? So Mongo is my last year's topic as well. It means that one of the NoSQL database. So also means that schemaless, if you will, but there's kind of a schema. We use Mongoose for that. So Mongo is the way I use it. I don't really use it. I always use Mongoose pretty much. There's also some kind of schema. If you look at it anywhere, there's going to be some schema. You want to do some validation in the code. You can't just push everything in the back end. But it's flexible. You can use Mongo with CLI, or RoboMongo is another tool that I recommend. So those three things, just check it out for Mongo. This is not the whole Mongo talk at all today, but it's just going to give you an update. You can install the Mongoose with this, the NPM modules. So yeah, that's Mongo, Mongoose, and RoboMongo. And the last one, to make it more fun, speech plus presentation over there, I guess we throw in the Firebase. So Firebase, how many people have used Firebase? Okay, great. Firebase is a real-time data store, cloud database. Now it's been bought by Google. There's two guys who left Google, they know Firebase, and they got bought by Google again. So now it's part of the Firebase. They're also turning off their, if you haven't done it yet, they're turning off their own storage, their own identity scheme. So you have to log into Google credentials going forward. So keep an eye on that. It's going to load, so I have to switch my credentials to Google credentials. Since being a node module, it's pretty easy, the same setup. We have require the Firebase. Once you install npm install Firebase, you're just going to use the Firebase object. You get a configuration URL. You say what you kind of, this is, I'm just passing the object here. This is what you see in a minute when you do that. But you just get the URL for this one and for your configuration URL. And you just, you just add your, this is your document, higher level document, or collection, I should say, yeah, collection. So it just goes into a collection and add that scrapes object that you pass into. So each one, in this case, I have the scrapes that I have scrape URL, what's the crate with, pass. With the sample application that you see, I use X-ray and Cheerio.js, so there will be two of them. And the combined set is going to include the data structure, which is the link, URL, and the title. And this little timestamp on the code. So here's my sample application. So this is a browser action. You're going to have the target URL. You click on the icon. It's going to kick in the event page. You're going to go to the event page. The event page is going to create this window. And I'm also using Bootstrap, so I'm going to create another window. So unlike this right-clicking, things like that, I just want to build a window. I want to be persistent. But typical browser Chrome extensions are should be lightweight. They decide, so you're going to keep your application short. But this is a sample prototype. I'm not going to sell this or anything like that, at least for now. And Google Q already did the job, so I'll do that again. Yeah, and then we're going to use Express and Node as our backend. How many people use Express? Cool, you should check it out. Definitely a great backend for very lightweight server, node server, Express. Definitely check it out. So we're gonna hit out Express. There will be a route for Express. So Express, you just create routes, and then we'll do a HTTP post to it. And then while that post is happening, it's gonna post to MongoDB, which is running locally. And you can also use MongoLab, what's the other one? MongoLab and MongoHQ or something. And then Firebase. And Firebase is also running, I think still running Mongo in the backend, but it's real time, it's online. So this, on this side we have this, the UI is this guy, and obviously we have two models, so DA is for data access, user interface, and Firebase and MongoDB. So that's the reflects that. So let's do a demo on that. I'm also curious how many people are using what type of IDEs. So, like, how many people use Vim? Start with the biggest one. Okay, good. Two. How many people no, you don't use Vim? How many people use Sublime? Sublime users? Okay. How many people use Atom? Anybody use brackets? Anybody heard about brackets? Okay. Notepad or anything else? Emacs. Did you guys hear about the Visual Studio? Visual Code is kind of released by Microsoft. That's also open source too. There's another one. So yeah, we have a bunch of options, right? So I don't know. I'm just kind of going back and forth. I do certain projects, certain things, and here I'm going to do. How about WebStore? Am I missing anything? All right, good. I think I covered the big hitters here. Okay, let's see. So let me just fire up. What should we do? Sublime? There it is. Okay. I have to escape. So that's the root level of the object. So we have two levels of source and test. So source folder is the extension is in here, and we have a Chrome extension, and then the server is our Express that I explained earlier. So the Chrome extension will have event page, or maybe start with the manifest. So your manifest is what I showed earlier. You got the browser action, all these things. It's pretty straightforward. Then you put your icon list that you haven't seen before. Your permissions I mentioned about what you request, and you have to take the minimum permissions that you need. Don't take everything. If you really wanted to push this on the Google Chrome App Store, they're pretty picky about that. Don't just take the minimum stuff that you need. Storage I need. We have content scripts. That's the one that you saw earlier. The old URLs. Let's see. Okay, let's take a look at the event page. For the event page, so I use this model called IFI. IFI stands for immediately invoke a function expression. So I try to use that to just keep your JavaScript as condensed as possible. So I have this PSA event that I have the local object here, and those are the things that I do. So when you want to test this thing, you don't only test like the PSA event. You don't want to test anything Chrome stuff. So that's just a little bit of fun. You don't see that a lot in the test, in the application and things like that, but it's a good practice. I think you should do that. Keep your JavaScript nice and clean, test them as well. So what happens is you see in the first thing, so we have two things that we do in our Chrome browser, Chrome extension. So we're going to listen for the event, click event, and your extension is clicked. So we're going to look at we're going to hit the start event. Now we're also going to bind this event listener called listener object, listener function, that is going to listen to the events that are coming in. So far, so good? And I'll come to the details in a minute. So on the other side, so I have this content script that I mentioned earlier. So it's this guy. Let's collapse this one. So we do the same thing. We're gonna load our DOM because this is gonna run on a separate pop-up window, and we're gonna start the page scraper event, and then we're gonna listen to another event, PSA scrape event. So PSA scrape and PSA event is running on the background page or event page, and then scrape is running on our thing, and that's how they're gonna communicate. That makes sense? And I mean, it's not just me. I'm glad this is the pattern that I developed myself, and I looked around, everybody's doing the same thing. So this is not something I developed or anything. This makes sense, I think, for a lot of people. Yeah, so let's look at the details a little bit. So first we do is we get our target URL. These are kind of helper functions. I'm going to collapse them. We'll just take a look at the start method. So start method is going to take a tab object. So our first thing we're going to do is we want to create a new window, and that's the syntax for it. You get Windows create, and you push the extension, which page URL that your page is going to look into. So as remember, you have your page has two things, right? You have a JavaScript. So there's no Chrome script. We have JavaScript, HTML, and a CSS. They're all here. And let's take a look at the page. I also use lib directories. I also inject jQuery and Bootstrap to this. That's another common thing you should do. One pro tip, please don't use CDNs. If you look up to a CDN, it's another extra network hit, as well as Chrome also changed their security policies, so they get burned by that. Just keep it in your app and just keep it in there. So if you look on the lib directory, you see jQuery and Bootstrap is included, and they get injected to the page as well. So that's our page. That's our UI. For you can see that what I'm doing. It's just a HTML5 document. Yeah. Let's go back to the page. Another page again. Okay. I lost my train of thought here 1 second. This is a straight line. There's one in the random. Okay. So yeah, that's why I pulled these, right? So listener. So that's our start object. Start is going to take a tab. So we do this. I also wanted to show the URL version, the extension of the bottom of my application. So this is getting the URL app version. You can read that data like this. And also wanted to put the tab URL coming into the target URL. So it's just gonna, tab URL is getting passed in from the tab, and that will be the target URL. This is actually a placeholder right now for, there is a little internal object that target URL, and we set that URL. So it will be, this will say news.ycombinator.com, URL. And here's a listener object. See, I see some to-dos here. I'm not fully done here, but you can see that we have a request. So this is going to listen to the events that are coming from the, yes, 5 minutes per day. And then it'll just like to put it into the target object URL here. We look for a search term. Search string, this is really an index of, there's nothing, no regex, anything. I just look at certain things and push the title. If I find the results, the same pattern that I showed earlier, and we send the search results to the content script. Now, quick look at the page. It's just going to be similar to this. We're setting up a state. So we just get the promise. This is how you see the promises in action. So you have the read object, you got the PSA array, you just resolve it and it gets script data. One thing to note is I am using Chrome local start, alright? So we're pushing our data. I think I only have 5 minutes left, so I'm going to speed up a little bit here, but this is available on the notes. So let's just go and get out of supply if we can. I'll do one more thing, but let's see if this thing works. It is a, I found it's on the, you guys seen this. Okay. I can play that video on the phone. If not. Doesn't want to play, but that was interesting. You can see it when you're playing, but if you, this is like a place that these two doors are not opening, they're both working fine by individually, but if you don't have an integration test, none of them really works. So it was a fun thing. I just decided to include. I want to show you the demo app before I conclude here. Okay, so the one I wrote here, the news. Well, unfortunately, my resolution not allowing me to hit my Chrome extension. That's so sad. Come on. 15 minutes left. Okay. So I hit this, there's the extension, boom. That's what happened. Did you remember the design earlier? So I'm running a backend. I hope my backend is still up. Let's check the backend here. Okay, good, it is working. So we'll just hit scrape. So it's gonna go ahead and gonna bring these links. We can do a search in the Y Combinator. Let's look for the thing for president. Search here. And I found the president, so we push these links in the Watson for president up here somewhere. There you go. So you can just do some kind of analysis if you like. And the way this works is right now, so you can choose two of them. We have two links, two ways of doing the data, and then we write to our Chrome local search, and then we do analysis on that. So the application is available on GitHub, and let's see, let's go back to the presentation. What? So now we talked about these are kind of the summary. That's what the components are from the Chrome extension. So page scraping techniques, to use node packages, talked about MongoDB, Node, Firebase, the sample application, and thanks for tomorrow, so we mentioned that a little bit. So that's what I have. And open for Q&A. I have a few minutes left. Thank you.
jQuery is one of the main benefits I found is cross-browser compatibility for traversing the DOM.
Yep.
Since this is done exclusively in Chrome, is it just, do you advise that just because it's quite a lot of people are used to already for DOM traversal? Or can you do it with just targeting native elements using Chrome-specific things?
I don't have really an opinion on that. Whichever works for you. I think both should be fine.
So I'm making like a basic scraper with Curio. I love what you're doing, but one problem that I came up against is that like on a lot of these like production level sites, such as attributes, they're really really well organized. So in my particular use case, so like for instance, not all links will follow, there'll be a paragraph and link, then or they won't be so organized. So I had to make routes that were kind of, if it is kind of like this thing, then scrape this. Is that something that like the Nightmare library might help out with, like contingent scraping?
You may fall back, but I don't think so. That's more for dynamic website website analysis or scraping. I think you have to do what you're doing still, because there'll be one-offs. Sure. thoughts, questions, comments?
Is there a way to do scraping and analysis of the JavaScript code in the HTML page?
So JavaScript code, you can, yeah, I think, yeah, because you can look at the script tag, and you can take that and then take it off. With the DOM techniques, I think you can still do that, if you get that code better. It would be interesting, but I haven't really thought about that. I think it should be possible, because in the DOM, it's just a resource again. Definitely don't want to eval on it, but, eval is evil. But yeah, I think it should be, it should be possible. The thing with the Chrome extensions is we have, it runs an isolated form. The content scripts don't know what's in the extension, so you need to go to each one's script tag and see what they are, and then you just try to load them up that way. I'm not 100% positive the mechanics of it. It's just a resource. Any other questions?
So would it be better to build this as a DevTools extension?
Better as I.
So you can have a Chrome extension or you can have a DevTools extension, right? That's the second space.
Oh, the second one, yes, yeah. It's just they decided to do it as a DevTools extension. They could have put a browser action or something too. But
No, but there you would get this inspect element kind of actions inbuilt from Chrome.
right, yeah. It's on the page. Those you'll see on the browser on the page itself. I couldn't get that to work, but you'll see that there. Any other thoughts, comments? Thank you, everybody. Enjoy your DevFest.